Okay, hey everyone. This is a small session because a bunch of people have been asking how to use the Solana governance tools. I've been working with them for maybe 2 months by now, and just wanted to share a bit of the workflows, but also start like all the way back with a general introduction for those which is like have no fucking clue what a DAO is and what we are all doing here. I published a small document before, and I'll also drop the link in the chat now, so you can have a look at that. Basically, this is like the agenda. We'll just go, I'd say, start with the fundamentals. I'll show you how to set up a DAO, like the basics, and then maybe we can vote together depending if like people are up for that, or I'll show you like the different things related to that. Then how we're controlling the Mango DAO, or especially the Mango V3 program, with a bunch of functions added to the open source projects that contributed a few bits here and there. And then we can talk also about the future, like where development is going and what's coming next, at least from my perspective as a user, but also yeah, maybe talking about what everyone needs. So I'll start screen sharing so I can have a look. Someone likes my glasses. That's flattering. So okay, the first thing I wanted to bring up, let's go to the agenda here, is this like overview document. It's maybe a bit daunting at first when you look at it, but basically what this is saying is like whenever you have a realm, okay, which is the highest level of a governance, then it has a community mint and possibly optionally a council mint. So the difference is like in you can think of the council as like a multi-sig, selected few people that have control, and the community mint, it's like just the general, what you would consider the governance tokens. So for Mango, that's MNGO. We actually don't have a council, but we're thinking about adding one very soon. Yeah, we'll talk about that later, but for now, you can assume like one realm is very closely connected to a governance token. And then each realm can have different governances. Let me see, maybe we can go down here a bit. No, it's in this graphic. Okay, so each realm can have different governances. So the idea is you basically can say, and I'll show you an example, the token holders, they control multiple resources, right? They might control Treasury, they might control different programs that the development team has like created, and they might control other things even, right? Like so I think this is maybe a bit abstract, so we can look at the Mango DAO for that. So when we talk about realms, it's really like this high level thing, right? It's shown with like our governance token icon. And once you go inside, you're now on the level of governances. So each governance is technically in authority, right? So it's like as if it was a wallet or a private key that you created on the command line to do things, but instead of one person having a private key, or even worse, multiple people, what's happening here is everyone votes with their tokens, and then the governance program triggers those things. And when I say authority, that's like I would say, overarching term. So in the case of a token account, this, for instance, is our USDC Treasury vault. You can look at that on Solana Explorer. You see there's like 69 million US dollar in here. And you see that the owner of this Treasury vault is this address, right? And this address actually, I need to wait for Zoom to disappear, right? This address is actually what you see up here in the URL. This is where the governance for this particular token account is stored. And it's an authority, so it has authority over this token account. Same principle applies for a program account. So this is the Mango V3 program. Can look at that here. And here you see the term authority, right? Upgrade authority. In this case, it's not yet under governance. This is a developer wallet, but I think for other programs, well, we might have that set up already. I think specifically for the governance program itself. So we have our own copy of the governance program to make modifications ourselves and make sure the DAO can vote on each of these modifications. So this program actually, has the upgrade authority assigned to 7SN4, and 7SN4, as you see, is the actual governance account. Okay, so the levels, you have like the token, which kind of defines the realm, and then from there you have the governances. Each governance controls things, right? And so in case of the Mango program, it's not controlling yet the upgrade of the program, but you saw we have like a bunch of votes here to add different things, and basically this is the concept of authority. We have we basically assigned this governance account as the controller for these functions. And so our program just verifies, oh, is this instruction signed by the controller or the admin key? I think we call it admin key in the source code. And so in the beginning, that was the developer wallet as well. So we as developers could just set the liquidity incentive parameters or things like that. Well, when we work on DevNet, we do it ourselves. But for mainnet, we assigned this governance account to it, and now it controls these functions. Let's see, do we have questions so far? Benevolent dictator model. I mean, we started as a DAO, so I don't know who's the dictator here, but each of those governance tokens. So no, when I say governances, this is literally just you can think of it as like a wallet. It's not actually a separate token. So each of the governances you see in here, all these are controlled by the Mango token holders. So each of them is controlled. It's just the way it's grouped technically. Does that help, Outlaw Coder? Yeah, great. So let's go back to the review. So yeah, fundamentals, authorities. Now practically, if you want to use it, right? You might want to use it to I don't know, control your own program. So I wrote a guide for this some time ago. I'll post a link later. But the bare minimum setup, okay, is here. This is like a long tutorial that goes through all the steps. We're not going to do everything today, but what we're going to do is going to talk about like the basic setup. So if you go to this page, this is now using the Mango governance program. If I would remove this parameter, then I would actually use the stock governance program. I think Gover 5, yeah. This is the normal governance program. So you see there's like different program IDs we can use here. And we'll get to different ones. And you should, if you ever set up your own DAO, for DevNet testing, it's fine to use the shared one, but if you have your own DAO, you probably want to have your own copy as a precaution. Let's start with the with the DevNet setup. So how does that look? I think I pasted the link here before. Yeah, here. So this is now the governance program on DevNet. Yeah, you see I'm connected to DevNet. This should connect my Phantom wallet. Oh, and I hope it's not too loud. Someone tripped the fire alarm. Shoot. Give me a second. It's not planned. I'll need to check what's going on. All good. It's just tasty food. So, where were we? Okay, definite governance. So, I wanted to connect my wallet. So once you connect your wallet, you can either go in any of these test rounds. You see a bunch of people were testing already, Springboard. I don't know who all these people are. Here's Mango DevNet. I was testing some stuff there. So feel free, right? This is the first thing that comes up. It's like, need to give it a name. And here you can assign those mints. So I created already voting token, so community token. This is, this may be relevant. So you have you can control how much tokens someone needs to possess in order to make a proposal. I think for Mango, it's like a million tokens. So a million of 10 billion, roughly 0.01%. You'll need to see what works for you, but I would encourage you to choose something below percent because most people are not like core contributors when they want to make a proposal. But yeah, in general, we see that mostly core contributors make the proposals anyway, so I don't know. But we try to lower it over time and see if that helps in making the project more approachable. Given that this is just a test, I'll just put in here 1 because I didn't even mint it yet, so the proposed number doesn't make any sense at all. And we'll also use a council token. So this would be the council token. And then there's another setting. This is like, it goes into voting. So every time you vote, what happens actually technically is like you have your tokens locked inside the program. And then they get all counted together. So every time someone puts a vote for a certain proposal, a number gets counted up. Oh yeah, this many votes for it, this many votes against it. At a certain point, the votes for the proposal can cross half or 50% of the mint supply, right? So assuming you have 100 governance tokens, 51 vote for something, then there's technically no real way for it to ever not pass. That works great if you mint a token, distribute it, and that's it, right? Like a giant airdrop event or something like that. But for Mango, for instance, doesn't really work because we minted a treasury, right? Like 90% of the tokens are in the treasury, 9 billion Mango. They will never vote, at least not in the short-term frame. So this factor could allow us to get to a faster voting mechanism where 50% participation of at least outstanding tokens that are freely circulating and not locked in a treasury can accelerate a vote. But yeah, we never saw 50% of the tokens come to vote. So I think it wasn't really useful for us. So I'll just leave this at 1. But this is something you might want to consider, like there are some like dynamic factors you can apply to make the whole thing a bit more fluid and fast. In case you have this like large amount of tokens minted in beginning. So let's start with this. So we have now our own governance. The next step is basically add things under governance, right? Right now, I cannot do anything because I don't actually have the governance token yet. I just created the token accounts. So drop me your address in chat, and I'll send you like council tokens and governance tokens. Yeah. I'll just quickly mint some. So if I get your address, if I see it in chat, I'll send you some. Let's start with the governance token. I'll do 100 for myself. It's not a token account. Second. Apparently, you'll need to create your own token account in order to receive this. So super annoying. Okay. Yeah, okay, you guys didn't create a token account. So I can't airdrop your tokens. I'll drop the 2 commands so you can quickly create your accounts. Here, run this on DevNet. I have another idea. I can maybe just send them to you. I think Phantom creates this account. Okay, Outlook order. I'll send you some. Okay, get 10 holding tokens. Binya, 10 tokens. transparentine. Someone wants to be part of the council. Okay. Send one more council token around, and then we have our airdrop distributed. Oh, good. So now you should see these two buttons here: deposit governance tokens, deposit council tokens. Let's see. So now the overview shows I have where does it show that I have my tokens deposited? Not at all, maybe. To refresh. Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm the demo whale, and but I have two council tokens, so at least there's a I don't have majority on that part. Okay, let's get started. Now we can create a new governance. This is basically where the meat is. So you have a account, program account, mint, token accounts. So all of them are accounts. There's really not a big deal, but it's more a UI thing. If you want to host your program, then what you can do is you can add a program ID here after you uploaded it to Solana. And the wallet adding it to governance should be the holder of the program upgrade key. Else it will be a bit tricky. I think there's something in the proposal that fails if you don't know it. You'll want to give certain number of tokens, right, to create a proposal. You can put in here however you want, right? Like you can give a very low number. Hold up time is fun. If you do it too high, then basically it's the time between the end of the proposal after everyone finished voting and until it can be executed, because every proposal is just code that gets executed. For instance, code as in transfer tokens from here to there, right? Usually from a governance vault. So let's say maybe we start with actually our mint, right? I created a governance token mint. I currently hold it. It's maybe not so decentralized. So I will just add that one in here. It's the vote token mint here. Because I'm currently excuse me, I'm currently the holder of the mint authority. I can transfer it. Yeah, I don't know. We can do like 1%. It's fine. Everyone has enough tokens. The hold up time in days can be 0. Maximum voting time. So this is until we reach tipping threshold. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so the maximum voting time, in order to not make this a very painful experience, we have 3 days on the Mango DAO, but for a small test here, something like 15 minutes is probably okay. I usually use 15 minutes on DevNet. And the yes vote threshold is basically how many. Oh, I'm so sorry. My voice is like dwindling. So the yes vote threshold defines how many users need to show up in order for this vote to be valid. So you can think of it a bit like a quorum. I think on Mango we have right now something like 2%. But that's because 90% of the tokens are gone. Or like locked in the DAO still. So I think in our case, maybe 20% is a good case. Okay, there we go. So we have the mint under governance now. Now anyone who wants can create a new proposal. The proposal can either go to the community token holders or to the council. And I think it's it depends a bit what we want to do now, but I'd say let's do a council vote. I think we have enough people for that. Community token vote is nearly the same, so I'd say let's start. Mint DAO Treasury. Right. So here you can add a GitHub gist link. I think we usually add something in there. So what you would do is you would make a new proposal and just save it as a gist on GitHub. So this was a mint DAO Treasury, right? We need more tokens, right? To pay for the council cigars. That's why everyone is coughing so badly. So once you created the gist, you can, add the link in here. And you see, if I would have written way more, then probably we would have gotten a way longer description here. And then you see the second tab, which is the instructions. Because this is a mint, the only thing we can do here is mint 2. In theory, you could do everything, but the UI, basically, whatever you tell it, what it is, if you tell it it's a program, then it will show you program options. When you tell the UI it's a mint, then it will show you minting options. So I saw some people are, they still want tokens. But yeah, I don't think we'll send you more. So now the question is, where do we mint it to, right? Because we don't really have Treasury yet. So we maybe need to go one step backward and say, okay, so first let's create a Treasury. So let's go in here, create a new governance, this time for a token account. Okay, so this one is a bit tricky because if you use the associated token account, you need to be careful. If you use this transfer, it's gonna take your associated token account away from you, and you can only have one. So I think on the on the Mango version, I have a different version of this form. Let's see. No. Phantom. Yep. Ah, yeah. Yeah, so I added the option here to create a new token account. And basically, we want to fund the treasury not with council tokens, but of course with voting tokens. When you create it directly under the governance, then nothing bad can happen. Here you can again set up the same settings as everywhere else. So make sure to keep those consistent, because it's just really, really annoying when like one thing has a different setting than the another one, and then people will get mad at you. I think we have like some things in the Mango DAO that have 10 million instead of 1 million tokens. Confuses the hell out of people. You can configure it differently, but yeah, it's a tricky one. Okay, so basically what we just did, we have a mint, right? We have the mint for our governance token here, and we have a token account for our governance token. Yes, there's a recording of every cut. So this is the token account. You see that the address is 8kw. It's also written here, but I like to copy it from Solana Explorer just to be sure. And now we can make our mint proposal. So let's go here. We're going to mint tokens to our governance treasury. And let's see, maybe we have 100 in circulation right now. I don't know, 400, right? Can go. Let's be greedy. You can test the instruction. This may be a feature is a bit confusing at first, but basically what it does, it simulates the transaction on the Solana validator. And so you can see a bit what's happening here. So you can verify that it actually is running the right instruction and that it's, you know, using the right accounts. This looks all good. Usually when this fails, then either you have a very complicated scenario, can happen, or you have a, yeah, you have a bug. You set something up wrongly. So always check it. So now the instruction is added. I wonder where it went. Ah, there we go. So we have the instruction here. I also added the simulate all button that's in the Mango fork in case you have multiple proposals that need to be executed in the same order. Like we sometimes have this issue that if we want to list a new market, we first need to add the oracle so that we can liquidate positions in that market, and then we add the market. And so these two instructions are two instructions in the Mango program. And so we need to execute them after each other. And this individual simulation didn't work for that case. So there's also a button that just takes all the instructions, puts them together, and sends that transaction to be simulated. So you can verify you didn't make a mistake. And so the last thing you want to do is after you set up your proposal, right? You have the description, the instructions, you want to sign it off, okay? Once you do that, voting starts. No, there's another issue in the UI. So let's refresh it. Yep. So now people can vote yes or no. I'm of course not gonna vote against it, but someone wants to vote for it. You see now we have these thresholds displayed here. So this is the vote tipping point. If more than 50% of the council tokens vote for this proposal, so that's 3 of 5, right? Then it will immediately be tipped, meaning there's no more going back. This is accepted. Someone did it. If this would have stayed for a very long time, if this would have stayed very long time below the vote tipping threshold, then it would have ended only when the voting period ended, and then would have been successful only if the minimum yes threshold of 20% was reached. But yeah, everything worked out. Now I'll need to reload the page. We see 2 people voted here. Usually now this instruction can be executed. You see it's green. All instructions into one transaction. Okay, so for the simulation, we needed to be in one transaction, because else we couldn't simulate the effect of the first instruction and then the second instruction needing that to happen before. Actually, when we go to this screen after we voted and it's accepted, it's not going to be in multiple transactions. If we had multiple instructions here, each of them would be their own transaction. This can be changed. We could add another button here to execute all, but we never had the use case. So for now, at least the Mango DAO would just execute one by one in the right order. If we would execute them in the wrong order, that wouldn't be great sometimes. But yeah, I would trust the operator not to make mistakes here. So, okay, so our first governance proposal is completed. Don't forget to release your tokens. So this is like the current issue of the governance program, but every time you vote into a certain proposal, your tokens get locked in each proposal until the proposal is finished. Then you need to release them from each proposal, and only then you can withdraw them from the UI. That's maybe something weird, but it makes a lot of sense if you want to prevent double voting. So just make sure, like sometimes you won't be able to withdraw. You'll see an error message, something will not work. Usually the reason is that your tokens are in some governance proposal still locked and you still need to release them. Happened to me a few times, happened to everyone a few times. A lot of my friends also. It's a fun one to debug. I think in the, yeah, so, but yeah, let's look at this, right? We have 400 tokens in the treasury. The mint shows now that there are 500 voting tokens in circulation. So I think by now the mechanism is clear, right? So let's see if we have more questions. Okay. So far so good. So let's go, now that we had like the full rundown through everything, right? It's a lot of technical clicking, and right, there were these parameters in the process, and I just quickly rushed you through it, but they actually impact a lot how your DAO feels to be part of. I think it would be an interesting experiment to have a DAO where the voting time is only 24 hours. But because we see that the people usually vote anyways in the last hour, if they can afford to. if they're awake. But I mean, 24 hours is really, really, really short notice, especially if someone launches a proposal on the weekend, right? They could like vote to mint more governance tokens, spend the treasury on themselves or whatever, right? Things can't be reversed. So you need to be a bit careful with it. We thought that 72 hours is a reasonable starting point. Actually, a lot of people asked us to put it to 1 week. But at 1 week, it's really hard to actually like get stuff done. Like 72 hours feels right because we can like prepare all the upgrades or like new things, launch the vote on Friday, and then on Monday, like when everyone starts working, the votes end. And sometimes there are things that need to be done, like maintenance in general. Maybe the landing page needs to be updated after a successful vote. Maybe someone needs to announce it on Twitter. Like people need to actually do the work, right? So being able to like have a bit of time in between is actually not so bad. For us, it worked usually really well with 72 hours. There's one caveat though, and this is the how you're gonna handle exploits. So assuming you have like a program under governance that is handling a lot of funds, probably the worst thing you can do is like launch a governance vote for 3 days and say, oh, we have a security hole and we need to patch it. Here's the GitHub link to the code that patches the hole, right? Because everyone who's like reasonably smart basically gets pointed with a finger on where the security bug is or where the potential for intrusion is. They will know, everyone will know, and they have 72 hours to figure out how to exploit it, which is probably not what you want, right? So we want to transition to a model where these things are controlled by the council. So in case there's a important security emergency, we would send it to the council because the council can reach the tipping threshold way quicker than the general governance vote. If I want all the token holders in the Mango DAO to vote and reach tipping threshold, I don't know, probably people would need to withdraw from FTX or and then maybe they have I don't know, I don't know what would happen to the markets. Like, it's just really, really strange. So for us, like to assume that 50% of the float actually ends up in the governance contract, I think it's really, really rare. It can happen, but it's really, really rare. And usually it's the end of a very contested vote and not, hey, we have this, secret Telegram group and we talk about like, hey, there's a security hole and just a few people need to do this now without raising a lot of awareness. So, just think of the scenario. Probably you want to be able to have a limited number of people that you need to talk to, that can vote something through very quickly in order to patch the security issue. And you want to do this like with extreme confidence, knowing that the people are good-hearted. They don't need to be part of the DAO per se. I propose now that some people who work with Project Serum are on it. It's more important that you kind of cover the time zones, I think, in case this thing happens at 2 or 3 a.m. in the night, which it usually does for someone, right? So how to list new markets. So this was the very basics, right? What you saw is token program. We all know the token program. It's well known. How do you do it with your own program? So this is what I was working on recently together with Sam and Sebastian and Adrian. Like a bunch of people came together and we basically made a new GUI. This is a GUI that goes a bit further than what you saw before. It's also open source, so you can use it. Why am I showing this to you? Because you see here, there's a custom instruction here, right? What I told you before, we add an oracle to Mango v3, and then we add a spot market, including some parameters, right? Like initial level, leverage, maintenance leverage, liquidation fees, all that kind of stuff, right? Like we want we want to basically show people what they're voting on, because in the previous one, all you see is a base 64 encoded instruction, and that's not so indicative of what's actually happening. This is showing you actually what's happening. So in order to get there, we had to do two things. And I prepared the source code links. So the first thing was we had to add these instructions to the old UI. So you can pretty easily add new instructions. You see there's this folder here, instruction input, and I added a bunch of them for us to control liquidity incentives in which markets we list. But adding Oracle is the easiest one. Basically, you create like a React form with the helpers that are already there. They already have one that is used for parsing accounts. It verifies that the account exists and stuff like that. So in this case, I just add the necessary data that would normally pass in on a command line interface, or and I can add it to the instruction. And then actually this method make add Oracle instruction calls the Mango client library. So we just added this as a dependency in here. You see, this is the normal Mango client. And I'm sure everyone who has like written some admin tools for their own program, they know how this looks on their side. And then for display, because this is just a part where we add the form to input the data, this is to create a proposal. So this is in the first user interface we saw. And this is then how we display those. Basically, we have these dictionaries by program ID, where each instruction has some meta information attached, and sometimes does some, manual parsing to get the data out and display certain numbers with the right decimals and things like that. So it's a little bit of coding, but it doesn't take too long. And I think it's worth it in order to have a bit more reasonable display rather than just a bunch of bytes, which is the default. So I usually prefer that for voters, so they can see what's going on. So that's how we customized it. And I think most people probably want to use this new UI, but unfortunately we don't have the possibility yet to create proposals from there. So what we're doing is we're using the old user interface to create the proposals, and then we're using the new one and send that to the community to vote, because it's a bit more clear what's going on here. And also it has the discussion feature. So you see people really loved listing copes. So there were a bunch of people who gave their comments for or against. So yeah, that's that part. That's how you control your own program. Let's see. Should I go more into that? Is this clear for people who wrote their own program? Yes, Bini, yeah, good question. Yeah, so if you look in Mango Client v3, we used to control everything with the CLI tool. So you see we had all these commands already for DevNet testing integrated. But yeah, everything you want to control is an instruction. So some program needs to execute that instruction. Sometimes you can piece it together by using the existing instructions, but if you want to call something in your program, I would say chances are high you need to implement it yourself, because no one else called your program before, right? You're the developer, probably you're the first one trying it. So in our case, right, we have all these instructions in here that are, I don't know, add Oracle, right? See, we have the instructions implemented in Rust, and we added those in order to control our program while testing it on DevNet. And then later we just ported these developer tools to be accessible by the DAO. Okay. So we have a few more topics on the list. This is like what's happening right now and in the future, because I think, you know, like this is really like the beginning, where this is like the compound governance standard. Sad to say that they really failed with it because they didn't have the council. Luckily, we have a council. But there's way more we need to catch up with, right? And so one thing we noticed when working with the council is we don't really want to work with the tokens deposited in the governance contract. We actually want to customize that a bit. The idea is you can have multiple realms that use the same vote weight add-in. A vote weight add-in is a new thing and what just got merged today. Sebastian has been working on that. The idea here is you write a program that receives the tokens of the user, and then the governance program just asks this program, oh, how much vote weight does this user have? So instead of it being controlled inside the governance program, you don't need to add your, like, I don't know, special logic. Maybe you want a very long time lock. Maybe you want NFTs. Maybe you want, I don't know, all kinds of things, right? You could also have people burn tokens to get vote weight. I don't know, right? It's like, there are a lot of ways you can customize this. And this was like a clear thing, like a lot of people asked about it. And I think this is the first clear like plugin we'll have there. So yeah, I recommend reading the pull request. Basically changes a bunch of things, but it will also change the user interface, because you won't deposit your tokens into the governance anymore, but you'll deposit your tokens somewhere outside on the project page. And then afterwards, the wallet that you deposited with will have the power to make all the votes, right? Yeah, I'm really excited for that, to be honest. This is like one of the key pieces we need, right? If you want to pay contributors with options, they don't have the tokens until they exercise the option. But to be honest, they should be able to use their options as vote weight, right? So there are all these like derivative questions or compensation questions that we bounced into, and decoupling the voting rate from the actual token like opens up the possibility to be more creative on that side, and also find a solution that works better for your DAO. Yeah, the same vested tokens. Tommy from Psi Options made a vesting contract, which is not integrated yet, but I think we'll find a way to integrate it as well. Oh, question. Are your tokens locked in the program until the proposal is completed? Does it mean only one proposal at a time? So these are two. Yes, your tokens are locked. You can withdraw them from the program, but then your vote gets canceled. So your whatever you voted for gets subtracted again from the outcome. Not ideal. But that's there to prevent that you, I don't know, deposit your tokens, vote, withdraw, send them to a friend, he votes again, right? Like a Sybil attack. Only one proposal at a time. So that part is a bit more complicated. So yes, there is a limit on how many proposals a given user can open at a time, and it's actually set to one. which has a huge, at least caused a lot of issues in the Mango DAO, because it's just like the people who have been posting proposals are usually developers, because it's a bit technical and not so fun, and you need to know a lot of things, like which accounts to put together. So although things are discussed on the forum before and there's some rough agreement, that the final proposal is like pieced together by someone with technical abilities. And so we just found it very limiting to only be able to make one proposal at a time. So we increased it to 10 this week. 10 per person. You can customize that as well. I think there was a proposal to make this a variable in the program, but for short term, we just changed the constant. Oh yeah, if you can send a link to the token vesting contract, please post it in the chat. I'll add it to the document. Yeah, it's just very important, right? Like, not everyone wants to pay contributors to the DAO with tokens straight up. And so vesting is a way to give token powers without having people be able to sell them. I think that's great for like making people part of the decision-making process, but not necessarily allow them to turn on you immediately and leave the project. So it gives a longer lock-in. Yes, I can share the Notion link again. Give me a second. It all works on DevNet. I really recommend to test on DevNet. If you use this link up here, this is the vanilla governance program. So you probably wanna use that on DevNet and familiarize yourself with it. Submit several proposals. Oh, so multi-outcome voting, right? Because basically all these proposals right now are yes or no. And actually there's bias towards no, right? Given the quorum threshold. So the only thing you can do is like execute this piece of code if at least the majority agrees that this should be done. If you make multiple proposals and they all succeed, then all of them can be executed by anyone. You don't have control over it anymore. Actually, what I did, the clicking of the execute, anyone could have clicked that had governance tokens at that point. So that's maybe important to know. Yeah. So, but we should have this vote type. It's just there's no multi-outcome vote type, right? It would need to be, should we do A, should we do B, or should we do nothing? And if that is the proposal, then the voting would need to be a little bit different. The UI would need to be different, of course, right? But these are the things that need to go in there, right? We don't have that yet. It's too simple. If you have a need for it, reach out. Shouldn't be too hard to add. Maybe you work together with us. Good. I'll add your vesting contract to the list. Another thing that was discussed is not there's no clear path to like, I don't know who would work on that, but just wanted to bring it up. So Multicoin proposed hidden voting, commit and reveal. This one is actually quite interesting. So basically, the idea here was that people first need to commit to an outcome without revealing that to others. And then there's a second voting phase where they need to vote, where they need to reveal their vote, and only then it gets counted. I think that would also be really, really interesting to try out and see what it does, because there's an element of the anonymity and like publicity of voting on things that you kind of maybe don't want to cross someone else's opinion in order to have them vote on your proposal later. I think this kind of like dynamic is there in pluralist communities, and like you maybe don't want to vote against someone else just so you have a better social standing in the end. Maybe if everything was secret, people would vote more truthfully. Yes, I think you wrote that the code will be available, but the repository is right now private. Kevin. Incentivizing voters. So right now we see a low voting turnout in general. It's very hard to make people vote. Spend a lot of time on Twitter telling them go and vote. Feels sometimes like running a election campaign. Yeah, we thought maybe there's it would be cool if we could spend a little bit on the DAO from the DAO Treasury to make people that go and vote actually get something in return. I think currently everyone is at least paying some gas to vote. Maybe they should get some governance tokens in return for being active. And the last part, yeah, treasury management. So I've seen like some things get added, but I think there's like the ability to fund a Radium pool. But like I think that DAO Treasury might want to do more things on Serum or on Radium, maybe on Orca, right? Basically work with the different protocols, and I think Knows is Safe is a really great product for that, for instance. And I don't see really a big reason why this governance tool shouldn't grow that way and allow these features, but right now we can't. So just to give people some ideas of where we need help with. In general, we need a lot of help. It's really a community effort. I started working on this because I wanted it to be better. I would like continue working more in DeFi stuff, obviously. So I think a good rule is like commit reasonably to a project, push it forward, and then get more people to work on it. Odla Coder, if you're a really good programmer, I'm super happy to work with you. We have the first people show up and just like contribute open source, but I think we need a more formal structure, and because it's not clear, right? Like I'm gonna send some pull requests, maybe that's good or bad. I think we need some people who really like own the project, design the architecture, make it scale for all these different DAOs that will pop up in the next year. There will be a lot of issues with like performance just from the sheer amount of client libraries that need to be integrated. And so I would say like someone who's really, really good in JavaScript development, this is a good place. Someone who's really good in Rust development, this is a good place. It involves both. And I talked a bit with other DAOs. Like I think every DAO would be happy to contribute something for this project to start off its own, right? So kind of like a seed funding or something like that for people to start working on it until it becomes a real commercial product, right? Especially if you look at treasury management, it's kind of clear that there should be a way to make money with this as a product or as a real business. So even if it's open source, right? So there's I think there's a clear path there in terms of like just work hard and it will make money. And in order to have money right at the beginning, I think all the different DAOs that use this tool can probably contribute meaningful funding. we should probably chat in Lisbon. If anyone comes to the conference and is interested in working on this, I'll be there for a very long time. Happy to discuss more and like see how we can onboard people, and hopefully I'm not a core developer of it in a few months. Kavit, I'll answer you in chat. Yes, it does. And I'll also show you how you can switch. Okay, you see up here, you can select mainnet and devnet. I also ran it on localnet. So it works. Great. Anyone else with questions? There's no Discord. Let me talk with Chase. We need a room. For now, you can come to the dev governance channel on the Mango Discord. I'll be there. Sebastian is there. Adrian is there. Sam is there. So the people working on it are there. But we should have its own Discord for this, so all the like it feels more neutral territory to everyone involved. Hi, Chase. Okay, Ryan, I think we can close this stream. Thanks for setting up the tag. Really appreciate this.